Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and in this video let's talk about the takeoff and the climb procedures in the ATR 72 in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So, this is probably the one you've been waiting for the most, isn't it? Okay, sorry, I'm wasting your time. So, the takeoff procedure is as follows. The pilot flying is going to announce takeoff, release the brakes, and set the power levers into the notch. The notch is that white marker that we can find down here, and there is a little trick if you are not 100% sure where your power levers are set. Then if you go to the EFB, to the options page, and you announce the PFD throttle hint, then you will see a little hint on the top left side there. Now I'm moving my levers, you can see I'm in manual, now I'm in idle, and so on. So that's the trick you can use there in order to see where your throttles are. Personally, I don't like it, so I'm going to switch it off, but it is there for you to use if you want to. Now, we will verify that the engine parameters are set by 60 knots and then announce power set. When reaching 70 knots, we are going to cross-check our speed indications, and at V1 we do nothing. At VR we are going to rotate towards an initial pitch of 8 degrees. So that is just about at the third white line we have over there. Technically it's 7.5, but if you can fly that precise, then congratulations, I cannot. With a positive rate we are going to raise the landing gear, and then after that we are going to engage the yaw damper. This has to be done manually in this airplane. Also, we can switch the taxi and takeoff light off. Next up, we are going to select the indicated airspeed mode, and that is going to set the speed target to our climb speed, which is going to be the 116 knots over here. From there, we are going to maintain that speed until we reach the acceleration altitude, which is going to be 1,000 feet above ground level for us, so 3,000 on the altimeter, since we have an airport elevation of 2,000 feet. Now, the autopilot can be switched on from 12 seconds after liftoff, so that is generally when you're passing about 400 feet. From that moment on, the autopilot is available for you to use. When we reach the acceleration altitude, we are going to start the climb procedure by checking that our power levers are still within the notch where they are going to stay. Then we are going to select climb on the power management unit and check that our engine bleeds are switched on down here. That is just in case we had a bleeds off takeoff, but when the power management is set into the climb notch, or into the climb position, our target speed is going to increase from V2 plus whatever to 170 knots, which is the climb speed that we are going to follow all the way up. When passing the white buck, which you will see appearing on the speed indicator when we've caught up a little bit of speed, when passing the white buck, we are going to retract the flaps to flap 0. And when cleared to a flight level, we are going to set standard on our altimeters and run the after takeoff checklist. That is basically going to be the entire climb procedure. After that, we only have a bit more stuff to do when passing 10,000 feet, which is going to be landing lights off, seatbelts off, check the pressurization and turn the no devices sign off. And that's going to be the entire climb procedure. So that is actually quite easy, isn't it? Okay. It took a little bit of time to explain, it will take a little bit of time to understand, but once you've understood it, it is actually quite easy. So let's go over it once more. In order to set our takeoff thrust, we're going to push the power levers into the notch. By 60 knots, verify that our power is set at the little buck that we can see up here. And we will probably need a light forward control column force to prevent the nose from coming up all by itself. At VR we are going to rotate towards the 7.5 degree line that we can see over here. Once we're climbing, retract the landing gear with a positive rate, turn on the yaw damper, and turn on the speed mode, turn off the taxi and takeoff light, and once we are airborne for 12 seconds, usually by passing 400 feet above ground, we can engage the autopilot. At the acceleration altitude, we are going to select the power management into climb, which is going to increase the speed target, and when passing the white bug, we retract our flaps. Once clear to a flight level, set altimeter standard, run the after takeoff checks, and that's it. Okay, no worries, it sounds more complicated than it actually is, so let's go ahead and go flying. Park and brake is off. Here we go, power levers in the notch. Power set. $70 knots. Okay, V1, rotate, 7.5 degrees. Here we go. Positive rate, gear up. Yaw damper on. Speed mode. The sound you just heard was the trim, as I have trimmed out my airplane. Okay, above 400 feet, autopilot can go in, and the autopilot is flying. So, we're now 1,000 above the ground, so I'm switching the power management into climb. You can hear the engines running back, and the speed target has increased to 170 knots. Now we're going to let the plane accelerate until we pass the F-bug, which we have over here. Flaps retract.
Don't sink.
Yes, my little airplane, we don't sink. We are going to climb in a second. Okay. The flaps are retracted. We are reaching our climb speed. And it is going to pitch up in a moment. Alright, we start to climb. And let's now assume that we are being cleared all the way to our cruising level of 11,000 feet. Set. 11,000 checked. And since we are cleared to a flight level, set standard. Set once, set twice, and then on the other side as well, standard set. Okay, and that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and run the after takeoff checklist. Landing gear up, flap 0, 0, power management, climb, engine bleed. We can check it up here, make sure that there is no failure showing, and it also brings up the system page and we can see that both engine bleeds are on. So engine bleeds on, taxi and takeoff light, gonna switch that one off now, and altimeters, they're set to standard. After takeoff, checklist complete. Okay, and with that our procedure is basically complete, and we are going to fast forward a little bit now in order to make the thing a little bit less boring for you. We are approaching the altitude of 10,000 feet, which is basically where we have to carry out the last of our climb procedures. And it couldn't be any more simple. When passing 10,000 in the climb, or any other flight level according to local regulations, we are going to switch off the landing lights, the seatbelt, check the cabin pressure, and turn off the no devices sign. So, landing lights off, seatbelts off, no devices off, and we are simply going to check the cabin pressure on the systems panel. Down here we've got 3.9 psi, the cabin is slightly climbing, and that's already it. So, that is our 10 checks completed, and from here on we are simply going to monitor the airplane and monitor the climb. It is a good idea when passing 20,000 feet to check the cabin pressurization as well, And indeed, it is standard procedure to check the cabin pressurization periodically. So you can do it either every 5 or every 10,000 feet. Both is going to work. Okay, reaching our cruising altitude of flight level 110. Alt Star has captured. And we can already put the airplane into VNAV over here. Now, as soon as we have actually leveled off at our altitude, you will notice the speed target to increase to our cruising speed, which is going to be 240 knots. And when the airplane has accelerated, we can set the power management into the cruise position. Now, according to ATR, we are to wait with selecting power management in a cruise until we have actually reached our cruising airspeed. However, you will notice that if we simply turn this into the cruise position now, there is not much of a difference in cruise power, so I don't see any problems doing that now. What I do sometimes see with this aircraft is that it levels off a little bit too low, like 120 feet too low right now, and we can see that VNAV Alt Star is still on. Now, the plane will take a small moment until it actually continues all the way to level 110. That is obviously not a feature of the real-life aircraft, but is a bug in the flight simulator right now. However, you will notice that once it reaches and actually properly captures 110, the speed target is going to increase towards 240 knots. Now, don't be surprised if your actual airspeed is not going to increase all the way to 240. So you can basically leave your power right in the notch down here where we put it for the takeoff, and the airplane simply doesn't have enough power to accelerate all the way to the red line. But instead, what you are going to notice is that the airplane is simply going to start maintaining a certain speed at one point, which is basically the speed where your amount of power available equals the drag, and that is going to be your cruising speed in the ATR. Now, depending on the altitude and the weight at which you are flying, this might be somewhere around 260 to 300 knots of true airspeed, and that is going to be your cruise in the ATR. I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, then do let me know in the comments below. I'm looking forward to read what you've got to say about this. And for now, I would like to thank you very much for watching. Like, comment and subscribe, and if you really like what I'm doing, why not become a channel member, which is going to give you exclusive early access to new videos before they're released for everyone else. For now, thank you for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again, hopefully very soon.